It being 7:30, pursuant to Governor Baker's March 12, 2020 order suspending certain provisions of the open meeting law, General Law, Chapter 38, Section 18, and the Governor's March 15, 2020 order imposing strict limitations on the number of people that may gather in one place. This meeting of the West Newbury Conservation Commission is being conducted via remote participation. No in-person attendance of members of the public will be permitted, but every effort will be made to ensure the public can adequately access the proceedings as provided for in the order. Reminder that persons who would like to listen to or view this meeting while in progress may do so by use of Zoom. Link to meeting found on West Newbury Conservation webpage on the February 8th, 2021 agenda, or by calling in at 1-646-558-8656, passcode 914563, meeting ID 817-9478-2409. Okay. Let me start with the things that have all been continued, which we've heard nothing from the Lower Artichoke Spillway project. The DPW townwide hazardous tree management is continued. The Deer Run land development, 519 Main Street is continued. Middle Street Artichoke River Bridge is continued, which brings us to a request for determination of applicability by the Pentucket Regional School District for the construction of a maintenance garage and parking area. Is there someone here for that?
No. Is there someone here, Bert, for doing this, presenting it?
I don't see, it was submitted by Tracy Peters. I don't see her on. Rotate this.
Do you want to take whatever's next and see if she?
Mark Peter was on. I don't know if she's.
Tracy Peter here.
Yeah.
Hello.
Hello.
Hi, Tracy.
How are you, Dawn?
Good. You want to give us your presentation?
Sure.
Thanks.
Well, I'm representing the Pentucket Regional School District regarding the construction of a maintenance garage on property located on, hold a second. I'm surprised I'm first. I thought I'd have a little time to set up my plans.
Well, everything in front of you got continued.
Well, that's good.
Yeah.
Yeah, we'll be out quick.
Good for you. So there'd been a land acquisition on Farm Lane so that it's contiguous with, oh, do we want to have, okay. So it's contiguous with the Pentucket Regional School District now, and it's parcel A. And there'd be a 5,000 square foot garage constructed at the top of the lot, meaning closest to Farm Lane, 105 feet from the road. And I did an analysis of the resource areas within the jurisdiction of the Wetlands Protection Act and found that the area is outside of any jurisdiction. And there is a small area of possible spring to the west of the proposed garage.
Is that marked any place on this plan? No.
Yes.
Yes, that's the area that's marked 1, 2, 3, 4, and 5. It's kind of like a depression.
Hold on, it's to the side.
Oh, wait, I see.
You see the delineation? It was done by LEC Environmental. And I also, there were 2 sets of plans. I think you have the most recent one.
Can you rotate that 90 degrees, Bert? So it's
I have a question about that because this was the one that was first submitted, and it seemed to be a lot more detailed than the one that was submitted later.
The one that's shown on my screen is the second plan, and it shows where the roadway would come in. And
Okay.
then you'd go, and it looks like it's in blue ink. Yes.
Yeah.
Green ink. Coming around the property. So from the edge of the building, you would have 65 feet from the edge of a wet area with some vegetation there. And after putting in the little bit of gravel driveway, it would be 45 feet. And the property line is 30 feet from the gravel way, and there will be a fence placed between the property line and that area.
Is that,
15 or so feet.
what kind of fence? Do you know?
Stockade.
So will there be excavation for the post?
Well, yes, there would be.
It seems like that should be part of the plan.
I was going to say, shouldn't we have where the fence is going to be on the plan?
The fence location is on the plan, isn't it? Yeah, 6.
Is that what that, okay.
Brown, yes.
It's hard to,
It's the brown line next to the
Yeah.
property line.
I added this plan at the day after I had been, it was sent to me, and it was omitted in the original filing. It came to you the next day.
So
Are fences allowed that close to property lines? I thought there was a 15-foot setback.
oh, is it 15 feet?
I know that you know how Bert Knowles was the fence surveyor. There is usually a certain setback of a fence from a property line in order to.
I think that's if it's a 10-foot fence or more. I think
Okay.
there's a height restriction.
I was going to mention that since this is something that the landowner, I guess, asked for, they wouldn't have a problem with the distance.
Okay.
Is this going to be submitted to the planning board?
It's already, the lot was approved, the lot submittal was approved to the planning board and approved this lot A, parcel A.
But I don't think the shed was part of the approval of the school project that they,
That I don't know. I just know that the planning board approved the submittal of the parcel A.
I think they would be better to weigh in on any fence requirements, with respect to the boundary between the properties.
But as far as the Wetlands Protection Act, I looked at every component within the regulations for setbacks to wetland resource areas, and I did not find that it would require a filing of a notice of intent.
Is there detail on the construction of the fence in the submittal, Bert? Like how many holes and?
No,
Okay, if it's 15 feet from the resource area, I think we need to have detail.
but is that a resource area? That's the question.
Is it a spring that has no wetland associated with it?
No, there are wetlands. It's a question of whether it's big enough, I think, to be isolated land subject to flooding.
Flooding? Okay.
And that determination was never made.
It's a very small area, and it's close to the edge of close to a hill. So whether it could contain that 1/4 acre foot in that area, it's not designated as being a wetland on the wetland maps. The DE
Well,
wetland.
but the fact that it's not on a wetland map doesn't mean that it's not. And we never got any calculations for that because at that point in time, there was no work being proposed anywhere near it.
Well, does it look to you that it would hold a 1/4 acre foot?
I don't know.
It's hard to tell.
Because it shows the center of the pooling area is only 8 inches, 0.08 feet from the 25-foot contour. And of course, it's winter and I haven't had a chance to look in detail around there. But based on what I'm seeing on these maps and from a drive-through, I did not see that would meet any requirement.
Well, we saw it before winter, and there were areas where it was, you know, where there it was
Spongy to walk on.
Mhm.
I mean, and there also was a basin effect to it. It wasn't just flat.
Yeah, it's a low spot.
So, I mean, and so then I think that you'd have to measure the area that is encompassed within all of the basin and do the calculations.
Are you concerned that the flooding would come into the fence area?
I don't remember which way it sloped. I mean,
No,
Yeah, it's sloping. I can't, from this picture, I can't tell the direction, but it's sloping.
Tracy, I have a
Away.
question. So with this building, we knew that this was going to be coming along. When are they looking to do this construction, just in terms of, so we can understand the timeline? And, you know, does that give us flexibility as a commission to be able to go out in better weather without snow on the ground to take a look again? So what's the timeline that they're looking to do this work?
I would imagine as soon as
Like April 15th, they want to do it as soon as the regular season is.
Well, LEC might have the information to enable it to do the calculations.
Did they delineate it? I don't recall. I mean, it's
did.
not, okay, even though it's not on the school's property?
Yep.
Okay,
Yeah, it's a private ownership.
right. But I
So
think,
they'd have to get permission to go on that property to do a delineation.
I believe they did. I mean, we were out there with,
we did a walk, yeah.
Information in your office?
no, we don't have that. Because they didn't do any calculations.
Okay.
so can you provide contact information, Bert, for Tracy? For somebody at LEC so she can follow up?
Yeah, we went out with Rich Kirby. I have
Yeah.
his information, so.
So perhaps you need to follow up and see if they have enough information to do the calculations to determine whether it is isolated land subject to flooding.
And it was what, Richard?
Richard
Kirby.
Oh, I'm sorry, what's the last name?
Kirby. I think it's Kirby.
LEC. Do you know which office he is out of? Is that in Ipswich or?
I do not know which office he's out of, no.
Do you have his phone number?
At the very least have his email. I'm not sure about his phone number.
Other than that, is everything else okay?
Yeah, Tracy, I have a follow-up question. Last time we saw this, I think we saw this with Brad Dorr when they were talking about acquiring this property a number of months back. They had the parking area at that point, I believe, noted as pavement, and here it's marked as gravel. Was there a decision of why they changed materials?
Are you asking me?
Yes.
Yeah.
Oh, sorry, I heard a different name. No, I don't know the answer to that. Just became involved here.
Mhm.
I didn't see a previous plan with anything else.
Is there going to be a plan in the future to pave the gravel area?
I guess that's up to the commission.
Well, what I'm concerned about is that the commission, let's say we get through this and we do approve the building and the gravel. I'm concerned that the decision that we would make would be based on the gravel and the building. Then after the fact, they come back and ask for paving. I just want to make sure that whatever we approve is the final configuration for this building and parking area.
Okay.
Or at some point, they could come back and pave it and we wouldn't even know about it.
I was gonna say that, Dawn, but I didn't want to say
Yeah.
it, if you know
Oh,
what I
I'll
mean, right?
say it.
Right. I mean, that's exactly
Yeah,
because
no
that
I'll say that one.
well, that's what Brad Dorr showed us, right? That it was a
Oh,
paved
yeah.
parking area, and
Yeah,
now I'm seeing
no,
that.
And it wouldn't be the first time that something we've thought was going to stay gravel has been paved.
All right. Now, if the area is not isolated land subject to flooding, would that matter? Would that matter whether they pave it or not? Wouldn't that make the difference whether it's,
Well, there's from my understanding. Again, I'm not a paving expert, but there's different types of pavement that are better suited near wetlands, that are more porous and allow for water. Lowers the water runoff. Or, part of the plan too would
Yes.
require, if it is a paved area, how do they handle the runoff so it doesn't adversely affect that
But
wetland?
I think Tracy's question is, if it's not a jurisdictional wetland,
Well,
then
yeah,
do you have anything to say about it?
yeah, well, exactly. That's very true. Very true, Judy.
so I guess we could address that as well, depending on what the outcome is of the ILSF.
Okay.
So then, shall we continue this to the next meeting?
Has anyone been out to see it, really?
I went out with Bert. Who else is gone?
How long ago was that, though?
Bert, do you remember when that was? It was cold and
I think it must have been over a year ago. I think it was last fall.
yeah, because it was spongy to walk on, but there were places that were like little frosty, so it had to be in the fall.
Yeah, I don't think we were wearing masks yet, so I think it was over.
No masks.
It was over a year ago.
What is time?
Yeah.
Yeah, and I saw that late fall.
Not over there. I think I met him in the other wetland line. I don't think I met him over there again.
I remember meeting him.
All right. Do you have any other issues or concerns about any other resource areas?
Well, I guess we'd have to look more closely and compare this to the other delineations that we have, and which have not had an opportunity to do, to see where it is in location to any of those.
Okay. So are we going to go ahead and have us take a look at that area to see if it would be considered ILSF and then wait for the site visit with the commission, or?
Might visit right now because
It's too much snow.
Right, so as soon as the area thaws, we should try to do the calculation.
yeah,
All right,
have to revisit the delineation and any calculations that we need to make.
okay. So how would we be continuing this
Yes.
to a time way in the future or within a month, or?
We're going to continue it for a month and we'll see what the weather conditions are like then. continue it to the first meeting in March?
Sure.
That way we can probably get the site walk in, and if you think we can get a site walk in, Tracy, give Bert a call and maybe we could do it before the meeting.
Okay. All right, and so the first week in March would be, let me see if I can get that on my.
First Monday in March.
That would be March 1st.
Oh, it would? All right,
Yeah, March 1st is a Monday.
okay. And hopefully we'll have something to submit before then.
Okay.
Well, actually, now that I'm thinking, it might be a little early, but we'll see what happens.
Yep.
All right, so we'll see you then, I guess.
All right, thanks.
Thank you, Tracy.
Thank you.
All right, next is a request for a certificate of compliance for 70 Ash Street. Which one is that?
Ash Street,
This was
70.
the one, this was at our last meeting too. This was the one about the question over the underground propane tank.
Oh, yes.
Yeah.
Let me pull up the as-built.
So is there any resolution with that? We get any information?
I looked into it. Everything I found said that it doesn't really pose a threat to contaminating groundwater, which is what I was really looking at. Where is it here? This isn't the right
Bert, this is Dennis Hamel on the line here. You got to look at the final as-built plan that we submitted.
Yeah, I pulled up the wrong plan there.
Is that what you had up, Bert, the final plan?
We
No,
have
no.
design plans up there. We need to look at the as-built.
Yep. It's the site plan.
Have you got it, Bert?
I don't know what I did with it.
Was it sent by email?
Yeah,
Can you just go to your email and look for it?
that's what I'm looking for, but I
Oh.
don't see
Plan is dated
70
1/18.
Ash. COC request, COC request.
You've got the paper copy there, Judy?
Yeah.
Dennis, do you have it on your computer there? Could you email it to me quick? I don't see it in the email here.
Well, I'm not in my office. I'm at home, so I don't have all my files here. I think I emailed it to myself. That's what I'm looking for now, to see if I can
Yeah.
maybe get it up on the screen.
Yeah,
From January. sometime
yeah, I have
January,
the
January
70 Ash COC request email right here.
Yeah, my computer is going quite slow here for some reason. Let me see if I can find it here. Hang on.
Yeah.
Okay, I do have it here. I can share my screen, perhaps.
Sure.
Let me just make sure I get it up here again. Make sure I get the right one.
Yep, you should be able to share your screen.
Yep, let me get it loaded up here.
Yep.
Oh, there it is, right there. Let me see. Moving very slowly. Hang on. Okay, I only got a partial screen, but let me see if I can get this to show for you. Let me see, how do I get your screen here?
You could always email it to me quick too, and I could.
Um, All right, can you see my screen?
Yep.
Yes.
So here is just like it's got on a part of my email thing, so it's a little small. But let me see if I can't get a little bigger for you. Let me just span this out a little bit. Further. Anyways, if you can look closely at this, you can see right where my cursor is, where the propane tank is right, that little dot right there, that little circle. That would be the cover to the tank, which is below ground. This boulder line is the 100-foot setback from the wetlands. You can see a little corner of the wetlands right there. So that's where it is. So it is in the buffer zone by 10 or 15 feet or so,
Yeah.
parallel to the contours here with the tank. Those tanks are like 7 or 8 feet in length and 2 or 2.5 feet in diameter, 3 feet maybe. So it's like a long torpedo, not long, but like a tube, basically running horizontal to the driveway.
And
Do they
what's the
set them in-
volume?
Excuse me?
What's the volume? You were going to check on that?
I did not check on it, but typically for this size house, it'd be a 500-gallon tank.
And is the tank set in like crushed stone or something, or how
It
is that?
It's
Yeah.
usually set in sand,
Sand, okay.
so there's no sharp objects against the side of the tank.
Yeah.
Those tanks are quite rugged. I mean, they're really heavy duty. They're not like a thin sheet metal tank. They're meant to be there for a long time. They do have some corrosive resistance items that are in there. I'm not sure how that works, but they got some corrosiveness things that actually absorb water to keep the moisture away from the tank around the nozzles and all the parts that normally rust. The tank itself is just one solid complete item. There's no bolted seams. It's one tank, and then you got the cover on the top, that feeds everything with the valving. And in that area is where that corrosive material or the corrosive item, it's like a bag that collects the rust. It's not collected as in a moisture resistant thing, but it deters deterioration. I'm not sure exactly how it works, but I have one here at my home, and that's how they explained it to me. So that none of the valving or the fittings will rust. Anyways, that's where it is right there. So that was the issue I understood. Well, Bert, you determined that it doesn't require, or doesn't give you a strong, it's not a dangerous item below ground for contamination purposes.
Nothing that I read said that it was that said it was a contaminant threat, I guess. Everything was focused on the explosive part of it.
So was there anything from the DEP on this? Has this come up at all?
I couldn't find anything with DEP on it.
Okay.
I didn't ask the circuit rider about it because I try to keep my questions to her based on Wetlands Protection Act stuff.
Yeah.
There's also your third variance was a 4-inch PVC subdrain.
Yes, this is the subdrain to the foundation for the house.
Is that the line that's marked D?
Yeah, there's a little line that's D. So there's the outlet is right there, and then it goes in a line to this corner of the house. That's what Mr. Oriole explained to me. It went to this corner, and then it kind of, the piping wraps around the house and discharges. Yeah, it's just collecting groundwater. It's not anything more than that. Just keeping the basement dry.
Right, and that's outside the buffer zone.
That's within the buffer zone. Here's the buffer zone. This is the wetland here.
Where it discharges is within the.
Yeah, where it discharges is in the buffer zone. The pipe around the foundation, perforated pipe, is outside the buffer zone.
So are there any calculations with, expected volume or anything?
That's a real low flow kind of thing. It's not based on like a stormwater regulation thing. It's
Right.
just simply a drip kind of system. It's not going to be pouring out of there.
Is it like a French drain?
It's not a French drain. It'd be a
It's not.
4-inch perforated PVC pipe around the foundation. Then once it leaves the foundation, it's a solid PVC pipe. And then it just discharges there. So any water that would accumulate against the side of the foundation due to groundwater would just, weep out of that pipe. You won't unlikely to see much of a stream of water coming out of there. It does come out, but it doesn't come out at any volume that you could calculate that's going to be considered stormwater.
And my confusion is that on the plan, you've got a D there, but it doesn't go anywhere. I was looking at you've got a D line on the other side of the house that comes out of the house and goes around and discharges in before you get to around parallel to the leach field.
Yeah, that's the discharge for this side here, yes.
So, but where is I don't see a line. I don't see the line on the other side of the house. I just see one discharge.
Well, at the time when we did our as-built plan, obviously we can't see that. I mean, that's all below ground. So that's taken information from the client who told me it came from here. And you can see the direction when you're looking at the outlet, you can tell the direction it's coming from, but you don't know exactly where it goes. But he told me it went to this corner of the house and then kind of goes around. This other drain line is what picks up the roof runoff. So it's from gutters and the like, and that's what discharges over to this side. And that's a 6-inch pipe. That's a bigger pipe that will handle flow coming off the roof. And when it rains, the water will come out of this one. But the one over here is simply, just slowly discharging groundwater as it accumulates in that, the lower portion of the house.
And what's the depth to groundwater there?
Well, here's a test over here with the septic system. Well, that's where we did the testing by the septic system.
Mm-hmm.
And this is a surface condition right here. And so that has to be 4 feet above the seasonal high groundwater. And plus the system itself is a couple of feet thick. So that would be 6 feet or so lower than this 107. So that'd be like 100 would be and the top of foundation is 109. This actually is a 2-level thing. The garage is at a lower level than the house itself, and the house is up higher. But it's above the bottom of this foundation is probably above the high groundwater for this portion of the house. So it's not going to collect much, but it's always a safety item that they always put in houses when they have the opportunity to daylight a pipe from the foundation to just to protect in case the groundwater surges from whatever time, have a extremely high water table some years or whatever. That's very typical construction if you have the opportunity to do so. And if they don't have an opportunity to daylight it, they would always put a sump hole in the bottom of the foundation and just pump it out when the need be. But this one here, you can get gravity. You can see it's at 97 here. Up at the house, it's probably, I don't know, a foot or two higher than that. Around the lowest portion of the house. See, when we did the as-built, we can't see any of that. So we have to take the word of the guy who built it, which is Mr. Oreo, who lives there now, and he's a builder. So he's the one who told us what the foundation drain, where it comes from, where it goes.
I don't know. That's a little troubling to me. You're being asked to say that that's how the system was constructed. And I mean, the fact that it discharges right to the buffer zone seems like it should.
A lot more water coming off of that driveway, the garage, and the house than there is coming out of that pipe. And that pipe is going to be very, very little water.
I know, but it's it should have been part of the original plan.
Bert, do you have the design plan of that? I'm not sure if it shows a footing drain on the design plan.
It's approximately 75 feet from the wetlands as well.
This outlet right here. Yeah, here's the 25 foot right here. So that would be 50 would be right right about in here. So
Okay.
it's about 60 feet maybe. It's
Well,
more
I'm
than,
using a scale on the plan that you submitted,
yeah,
and it's like 70 from that point.
from this point to the wetland, yeah. Because here's 100 and his 50 would be right about halfway. So yeah, it's less than half of that way. So yeah, it'd be 70 feet or so from there to there.
So the plan does show a proposed foundation drain. It's actually on the plan, it's actually more in line with the front of the barn.
Goes out in this direction.
Yeah.
So Bert, you're saying the outlet is more in line with the barn or the drain itself?
It would be, it just says proposed foundation drain, but it would be the outlet.
Okay.
And it is closer to the wetland. The proposed drain is closer to the wetlands than this one.
As you can see along this, where it says the lawn area, that steeper slope, that is a fair amount of fill that was in there. This is where it matches existing grade, then comes up to here. So, there's not a lot of flow coming out of there because it's not really below the groundwater too much. Maybe up in this upper corner it might be, and that's why you wanted to try and get it up. And it's very typical to have a footing drain even if you're not in the water table. Just to give you that added piece of protection.
And Bert, you said that all of the posts
Yep.
were where they're supposed to be?
Yep.
Everything else is properly vegetated?
Yep.
Well, based on the research that the propane tank does not pose a hazard to the wetlands, and that the changes, the variances from the approved plans are not more intrusive than the approved plan, I move that we issue a certificate of compliance for DP file number 78675.
Second.
Any further discussion? Dawn?
Aye.
Molly?
Aye.
Wendy?
Aye.
Tom?
Aye, sorry about that. I was on hard mute. Aye.
Judy? Aye.
Dennis, could you just make me the host again? You put your cursor across my screen, click the 3 dots.
Okay, hang on a second. Let me right here. Make host. There you go.
Got it. Thank you.
Thanks, Dennis.
One question I have for you, I noticed on the agenda, the Chris Harris on 171 River Road, we had asked a COC from him as well. I'm wondering why it's not on the agenda, or if it is on the agenda, just that it didn't get posted.
Because we haven't gotten the information from Heritage, right?
So Chris had emailed me. So Heritage said that the anchors and the rocks there were fine, but the chains were not. They needed to be the flexible road system. So Chris had asked me to put this off until the spring so they can show that they're using those flexible road systems.
Okay, I just wanted to make sure. I'm not gonna, I'll leave the site if I'm not gonna be here to listen to anything else. So that's all, that's the reason for my question.
Yeah.
So if in the spring's not a problem either, so we can go, once they're installed, we can go out and then verify that they're there and take pictures and send something to you. And then you can vote on it at that point.
Sounds good.
So is there a date certain we can extend it to, or did,
No, it's not a public hearing, so it doesn't need, a legal ad or a butter notification or anything. So I guess whenever, I'll probably touch base with Chris in the spring, or he might get in touch with me about when they're gonna put the docks back in, and they'll have those flexible road systems, and you can look at them then.
okay, great. Well, thank you very much.
Thank you.
Good night.
Thank you.
Bye-bye.
All right, next is Sullivan's Court Trail easement.
I had this on here just in case Tom Nevey got me that stuff. And he emailed me right after I posted the agenda. He hasn't gotten it to me, but he said he will. He's not in the area right now. But he said as soon as he's back, he's going to get that information to me. So I'll just wait to hear from him.
Okay, land agent.
Yeah, I put that on there. I would like to increase the number of hours for that position to the 5 that we originally talked about. So that would be an additional 3. Given the kind of the pressure on the budget this year, I was trying to think of alternative ways to fund this. And so I was looking into the Wetland Revolving Fund, which we talked about, for the internship program, and it has to be for administration or enforcement of the Wetlands Protection Act. So what I was wondering is if we could maybe use some of that Wetland Revolving Fund account money to pay for administrative hours that Bert is currently working, and then use the hours that would free up, for him to do the trail work. I mean, I think eventually we should have an administrative position to help him. I mean, his time is more, maybe more appropriately spent doing field work and that kind of thing. And I think we're the only department that doesn't have an administrative assistant right now, that has public hearings and that kind of thing. So my thought would be to create, an administrative position that's paid for with the Wetland Revolving Fund account for now, and demonstrate that it's needed. And then eventually, if we thought it was appropriate, we could have that become part of our regular line item budget. I looked at the revolving fund balance. It's just a little under $90,000 in there right now. And I don't know that we need that much money anymore now that we've passed the policy to hire consultants and, have the applicant pay for them if we get into an intensive NOI. The last 5 years that I looked at, the average was $10,000 a year put into that fund. So I think if we set aside roughly $5,000 a year to pay for administrative costs, we'd still have plenty of money if something unforeseen came up. So I haven't talked about this with Angus yet. I just wanted to kind of get a sense from the commission whether this is something that we want to support. And if so, then he has to approve any expenditures from that account. So I would need to talk about it with him.
Well, if you're going to start paying for stuff out of that, you're never going to get the town to pay for it as part of the regular budget.
Right. So that's why I was thinking, have it be administrative, so we're not going to lose any hours that the town is currently paying for the agent position, which is the most critical thing.
Well, I thought you were also talking about creating an administrative position.
Right. So if that $5,000 funds, that's 3 hours a week for Bert, for the whole year. If he gets to a point where he doesn't want those extra hours and he wants to go back to 20, then we could, talk about having an administrative person added then. I mean, I don't think we're going to get any more hours for the land agent position, out of the town budget this year, just the way that discussions have been going with the Board of Selectmen right now. We can try if you'd prefer to do that. I just feel like this is a lot of money in this revolving fund and it's not being used. I mean, why not use it to try to reduce the burden on the town if we can?
I'd say to try it, Wendy. I mean, it's not gonna hurt. The town has come to us before and we've used money from that account, to help do a salary thing, and that went back, reverted back, so.
Yeah, I was gonna say that I agree with Dawn. We had some issues during the 2008 to 2010 period, and sitting in the selectman seat at that point in time, I was a strong proponent to get that reverted, which actually did happen. So, I know that I believe they put a 1.5% limit on increases in expenditures for next year. So if it's something that the commission feels is very important, this may be a way to be able to make sure it's funded, at least for the next year or so until things get back to normal.
Bert, do you have time for this?
Yeah.
Okay. We didn't want to approve anything if you didn't want it.
Yeah, I asked him first, just like offering his time.
You can't tell anymore because he's wearing a mask. So it's like,
He's smiling, I can tell.
okay.
All right, so,
Yeah, I'd try it.
okay. I mean, so do you want to do this rather than asking for an additional 3 hours out of our regular budget? That's what I just want to make sure this
Yeah.
is the route we want to go. Okay.
Yeah.
I think it's very important for the commission in its presentation to the finance committee to note what we're doing. And that way, when we get to future discussions next year or the year after, that we can get that reestablished in the town budget.
I think it's also a selling point for the town, the trail system that we have, and that if it's well maintained, it becomes a bigger asset to the town.
I agree.
Yeah, Bert has been keeping track of the work that he's done, and we're talking about setting up something on the open space website so that townspeople can report issues that need to be addressed. He's also looking at an app with ECTA that would, like doing a trial run with that would, point out trail issues. So, I mean, I think if there are more hours available, he could do more work. So I think it would be important to try to expand this program.
Okay. Go for it, Wendy.
All right. So Bert, do you, the budget's due tomorrow, right? Have you done anything with the budget? With Angus, has he contacted you, or is he just assuming we're going to be level funded?
They haven't asked me about anything. No.
Okay. All right, well, I'll follow up with Angus then. Thanks.
Okay.
Wetlands protection bylaw?
I think we have to
Molly?
submit a warrant article for that, right?
Yeah, it must be coming up soon. They
Yeah.
haven't, as far as I know, they haven't set a hard date for it yet, but I can follow up with them about it tomorrow. I know that they were talking about setting a date soon, so
I think it's the 17th, February 17th.
February 17th.
Yeah.
Which is coming up.
It's coming up.
So who's going to write that? Molly, are you comfortable doing that, or do you want some help with that? There's a
Sure,
form.
Judy gave me her revisions, so I can just send that out again. Did everybody get those revisions or no?
Yes.
I don't, did we get revisions?
I thought Bert sent them after the last time.
Was it a while ago?
Right before the last meeting, there was.
Yeah,
Oh,
But the warrant article, I mean, the bylaw hasn't changed.
Right.
was this?
The warrant article doesn't have the executive summary attached to it.
right.
So did you
Executive.
fill out the warrant article, Judy? Request?
I have not, but I will.
Okay.
And then I guess we need to discuss at some point how we want to proceed with information and education for the town.
I think it's hard. You can't have a meeting up at town hall.
Well,
It would have
we should have a
one-
public hearing though, right?
Yeah,
I
I think
think.
we have to do something with some of the other boards.
Mm.
All right, well, the most time pressing thing is to get the warrant article request completed and submitted.
Yeah.
And the stormwater bylaw is also going to be on the,
What?
there's a stormwater bylaw that is also going to be at town meeting. I don't know if that's good or bad to have both, but
Well, is town meeting going to be outside in the lawn?
Yeah.
yeah.
Yeah, well,
Other business?
The only thing that I had for that was going to talk about the joint meeting with the Newbury Port Commission that Sarah from BSC Group had mentioned yesterday.
Yeah, I'm generally not in favor of that. That's kind of why I've deferred the discussion. I feel like the issues are different for each town. I mean, I don't know. I don't feel too strongly about it, but I just feel like it's, you know, it's easier for the consultant, but I don't think it really benefits us to have the meeting combined.
I agree with Wendy. You know, we didn't have a combined meeting with the Groveland Concom for the high
Mhm.
school project, and that went through just fine. So I agree that we should keep the meeting separate.
Well, I agree we should keep them separate. I think it is a little bit different because the wetlands are in Groveland. And we can separate them more easily than you can the construction of a single bridge, where half of the bridge is in one community and the other half is in another. I think we should have our separate meeting to issue an order of conditions, but you know, perhaps we want to have before anything is finally approved, to have a draft order that, see if Newburyport will share a draft order so we can see if there are any inconsistencies that present insurmountable problems. If you had, you know, I don't know, if you had different kinds of abutments in the orders, because one abutment is in Newburyport and one is in West Newbury.
Newbury. Did they discuss how they're going to handle all the parking that's going to be down there during the construction? Because there's really, on the West Newbury side, there's not a lot of parking area, and they have to be able to turn the trucks around. And I just, you know, when you walk around, you look at both sides of that road, there's just not a lot of space.
No,
Yeah, that wasn't discussed.
Blocking it all off, aren't they?
Well, they're
Well,
blocking.
the Jersey
off-
barriers.
Right, but I'm talking about there's going to be people working there, plus construction trucks that have to be able to turn around and get out of there. They're not going to back, you know, and I just wondered if there was any discussion about that at all.
Don, I actually think they're going to have to back in to
They're
that
gonna-
spot.
Oh, yeah.
You know, there's no other way they're going to, because it's so, you know, so narrow that they're going to have to come
It's
down the
narrow.
street.
Wet on
Come-
both sides.
Yeah, come down the street, turn into someone's driveway, then back out and then back all the way down to the bridge. I don't see how else they could do that.
And
You
see,
have to
then
use
you've
the
got,
meditation insight driveways.
Oh,
And
that'll
I'm
go
sure-
over well.
Yeah, we'll get some complaints on that one, I'm sure.
Yeah.
There's another little access road as you're walking toward the bridge on the left. I wonder if they would use that.
as a turnaround. Or to
Yeah.
park. Yeah. But if it belongs to someone else, that's the other thing.
This was
is-
Newbury, it was posted
water
Newburyport
department.
Water.
Oh,
Yeah.
all right. I was gonna say, how much, somebody with a private driveway isn't gonna want.
Yeah, I
a
don't think,
big,
yeah, I
heavy
don't think they
truck.
would do that.
I hope not.
Well, that's certainly
Phone call.
to ask them when they come in again. Or,
Yeah. Well, I didn't know if you had discussed that after I left.
No. So Judy, how would that work then? We each have our own hearing and then we just share our draft orders? Or what are you envisioning?
we don't have to.
No, I think it's a good idea. I'm just wondering how to do that.
We have our, I mean, we don't generally do draft orders, but for some projects we have.
Yeah,
So we would do a draft order, and we did it from Pawtucket. So then, instead of just sharing it with the consultant, we would share it with the city of Newburyport.
Yeah.
okay. So Bert, can you communicate that to Sarah? That,
Yeah,
And-
I'll talk to Sarah and I'll reach out to the Newburyport Conservation Agent too and
Mhm.
see what their schedule is like, I guess, but
We don't have a date, I mean, they haven't given us a date yet.
to continue.
Yeah.
They asked to continue to the first meeting in March.
Was the agent there yesterday, Bert? Do you know the agent?
I don't know, I'm not sure.
Oh, yeah. Who is the agent Newburyport now? Does anybody know?
I don't know.
No idea.
Wasn't there request for continuance kind of contingent, but they didn't know whether they would have what Newburyport needed done for the stormwater?
It wasn't mentioned in the letter. she
Right,
sent.
but I mean, when we were out there.
Yeah, yeah. So I guess they're expecting to have everything taken care of by March.
You have minutes.
You got a bunch.
Yep.
People reviewed them?
Yeah.
I did not review last week's, but all the other ones I have. My apologies.
Okay, so starting with.
December 21st.
Okay, so I move that we accept the minutes of December 21st as amended.
Second,
Any further discussion? Dawn?
Aye.
Molly?
Aye.
Wendy?
Aye.
Tom?
aye.
Judy? Aye. Next was January
Fourth.
4th.
I move to accept.
Second.
Minutes of January 4th is amended.
Yep, I'll move that. And there was a second by Molly.
Any further discussion? Okay, Dawn?
Aye.
Wendy?
Aye.
Molly?
Aye.
Tom?
Aye.
Judy? Aye. And the next were January 25th.
What about January 15th? And I have a question about that.
January 15th.
There was a discussion about an interaction with the town manager that Don had. And it was a little unclear whether the reflecting poorly on was it the conservation agent or was it the commission that was reflected poorly upon, potentially, according to the town manager?
I think he was talking about me and Bert.
Okay.
I don't recall that state. Can you read the
Yeah.
sentences?
Hold
It was
on
a
second.
phone call.
I know, but,
Yeah.
I'm just going to bring it up. Hold on one
Okay.
moment.
all right. I think the intent of that statement was that this reflected poorly on Bert, which was unfair because it wasn't really his issue.
No, well, it also was on me because that's when he came back and said, well, he apologized because he sent it to the wrong person, wrong Dawn.
Right.
Okay. Chair Fusco recounted her receipt of a phone call from the town manager, who later apologized, in which she was told she received an email asking her to sign a document and that her failure to timely sign was, quote, unprofessional and reflected poorly on the, I think it's conservation agent and not commission, dash, when in fact she had never received such an email. And reflected poorly on the conservation agent, or was it the commission? I had gotten sort of a couple of different thoughts on that, and I just want to get it however you feel.
I think what she said was the agent. Is that right, Dawn?
Yeah, I
Okay.
think, he was, yeah.
You didn't respond to an email.
Well, because
Because-
it wasn't signed, which is Bert's responsibility to get the
Yeah.
document signed.
It wasn't in the envelope when I went down.
Yeah,
I had gone to sign things and it wasn't there. And I said, well, I went to sign it after Bert had told me. Well, it turned out that after Bert had told me to sign some things, then this went to be signed and nobody told me I had to go back up and sign something.
so do we need to put this in the minutes? I'm just asking, because it's Dawn's recounting of a conversation with Angus, and I'm not sure, is it really important to have in there? Because it's a little bit vague. I don't want to.
I don't care.
Necessary.
I mean, if you think it's important to document it, you know, I think the fact that he apologized and realized he made a mistake, it's not like we have to document that it happened for the future. It was just a mistake.
Maybe
Here-
document the fact that we considered e-signing and then due to the difficulty of signing during COVID, something like that.
Yeah. I think that's more the issue. Are you all right with that, Dawn, though? Because you were the
Oh,
one
yeah.
that was
Fine.
attacked. And
At the whole, well, I didn't know what was going on because nothing he was saying was making sense to me. And
yeah,
it was because I never got the email that he said he sent me.
yeah.
So how about this? We use the first sentence that ends in once they are ready. We strike all the rest and start up again with Ms. Fusco said that she knows of no way the commission can use e-signing, da, 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 da. Does that work?
Yes, that sounds
I think
good.
that addresses the issue.
Okay.
Thank you.
So with that amendment, I move that we accept the January 15th minutes as amended.
Second,
Any further discussion? Dawn,
Aye.
Molly,
aye.
Tom,
Abstain as I was not there.
okay, Wendy,
Aye.
Judy, aye. And Tom, you've not reviewed the minutes from the 25th.
Yeah, my apologies, everyone. I'm going through what's called the SOC 2 audit. It's an annual security audit at work, so I literally worked all weekend on that. So haven't had a free moment.
So shall we postpone the 25th minutes until the next meeting?
Sure.
Sure. Now,
Okay,
is the next, is it going to be a holiday, our next scheduled meeting?
it is. Isn't the 22nd President's Day?
Yeah.
No, it's next week. Next
Oh,
week
it's-
is vacation week. Yeah.
Oh, all right.
George
That
Washington.
worked out well.
I think we planned it that way.
Yeah.
Did we?
I think we did.
I'm going on vacation,
We're so
folks.
clever. Yeah.
School vacation week on vacation.
Mhm.
Someplace warm, Tom?
Yeah, we're going to our timeshare in Florida. So
Nice. You have to
With-
quarantine for 2 weeks before you go.
actually, our daughter lives about 2 miles from it, and there's a test facility right nearby. So we're going Friday to get tested before we get on the plane Saturday.
Yeah, very
And
good.
then when I came home, I went right to that one at Story Ave. And
When
got,
are you going, Tom?
it what?
When are you going, Tom?
We're going Friday night.
Oh,
So Friday night, and we'll be coming back Saturday.
away from the snow.
I guess sit by the pool, catch up on some reading, drink a lot of drinks. It'll be great.
Sounds like you could use the break after your work situation.
Yeah, not only work, but everything with my mom and my dad. It's
Yeah.
You know, you just need some time to decompress.
That's good.
Yeah.
Well, I hope the weather down there is good.
It's supposed to be a little chilly, just like up here, but if I'm in jeans and a sweatshirt sitting in by the pool and it's like 65 or 70, I'm fine with that versus 10 degrees or 15. So
What, no, no.
All right, that is it.
All right.
Thank you.
So can you just tell me again, when is the next meeting? February
2 weeks from tonight, the 22nd.
2nd. Okay.